Me now? Okay. All right. Yeah. So it seems like my recollection serves me correctly that when this Charlottesville stuff, the tiki torches, you know, folks walk around in tight ass dickies and whatever else in their polos,
Right.
and they met, you know, super Antifa out there and beating each other with you know, barbed wire and all this other crazy shit. You know, Trump was like, well, you know what? There's good people on both sides. You know,
Okay, I know. Yeah, I remember
playing
that.
the field, but now
yeah.
it seems he's kind of taking a hard line stance. It seems as though, you know, against the folks who are out here who really one of them end up killing a girl, like running over, you know, in a crowd and killing her. And I'm like, you know, why all of a sudden, like if you tempered your initial feelings toward this and you released a statement, why is it? It seems as though it's quite a bit different than what you first offered. So I don't know. Like I can't pretend to know his mind, but it seems strange to me, especially in light of, you know, this girl dying. Now that, you know, I don't know, like that maybe I have the wrong impression. Maybe it's just my impression of him is tainted based off the other shit that he said that's just been deplorable. I don't know, you know?
Okay, hey, first of all, man, what I want to do, we're going to speak on this Trump thing. I want to make sure our sound is right to the people, our audience, first of all. So I want to make sure that is good, and we're going to apologize for the technical difficulties, y'all. Okay, and secondly, as far as Trump is concerned, I wanted Nate to play that clip, and I hope everybody in the chat who's viewing our show tonight actually saw that clip and viewed it and understood why we played that clip. Okay, loud and clear, good. Thank you, Preaching to the Tired Ministries. Okay, well, the thing about why we wanted to speak about Trump tonight, I think it's very important because, and we mentioned the Charlottesville clip. We wanted to play the Charlottesville clip so we could get a better understanding of how contradictory this so-called POTUS of the Western world, of the New World is. He goes at Colin Kaepernick, and everybody's familiar with what Colin Kaepernick started when he refused to stand up for the national anthem. He calls LeBron James a dumb, calls Don Lemon dumb. But when these particular people in Charlottesville, and not only Charlottesville, but a lot of other racist organizations. Matter of fact, there's this white supremacist parade going on right now. I think it's in North Carolina, I believe. And he never speaks out until the last minute when pressure is going towards his cabinet, speaks out against white supremacy. And he seems to like to divide and conquer between people. And this is something that I think should be understood when we're talking about standing for the national anthem. And the things that Trump has said, he actually called for Kaepernick and all other players who didn't want to stand for national anthem to be fired. He called them stupid, he called them sons of bitches. So, you know, for someone to say something like that, call them sons of bitches for standing up for police brutality that's going on against minorities, but not to call sons of bitches for white supremacists in the streets all around the country. I think that's something that all the nation should see, that this particular dude is a racist and a moron. Secondly, this is something that I think people should understand. The American flag does not belong to the military. That's something that this cabinet has been trying to paint the picture like the American flag belongs to soldiers. That is not true. The American flag belongs to the people, okay? Whether you want to, whether you consider yourself a love for this country, a love for America, I have a love for it because my ancestors actually died and sweated tears and built this country. So I'm not on a go back to Africa thing because hell, we built this right here. So a lot of our generations here. So the thing about it, we must get a clear understanding that standing for a national anthem or to try to force somebody or to say somebody is not patriotic because they're not standing for a fake ass song does not make you love or disrespect soldiers or disrespect people. And I think Trump is a moron. He's a racist. And I think, man, people, he's riding on the emotions of basically, this is just the truth of the matter. He's riding on the emotions of poor white people who want to see some type of change and don't understand that he's playing poor white people against blacks and other minorities. And he's doing a good job of it.
Yeah, he is.
So, that's what he's doing. Drag, you had anything else you want to add to that?
I'll say this. I'll say right now, especially with the climate that we have now, Trump is an answer to a black president, to a black presidency. It's when Barack Obama was elected. This is kind of the response, because people make it seem like Barack did a horrible job. Obama was bad, right. Obama is bad, but he wasn't really that bad. You know what I'm saying? People forget where we came from before Barack. When Bush left us, the economy was taken. Right. There was hundreds of thousands of jobs being lost, and all of a sudden now, it was like, well, this was a response. Well, you had your black president. Let's see what's the racist guy we could possibly elect. And I think he spoke to a lot of people. He spoke to those fears. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Laura Ingraham the other day, but she was saying that. She was like, nobody voted for demographics changes. Well, you don't vote for people to have babies and for the country to change. She was like, we should vote for that. But how do you vote for that? I vote that you can only have one kid. I vote that you can only have two kids. So I think that seems to be mentality on the other side. And all these hate groups and all this stuff are just continuously pushing that same narrative. You know what I'm saying? F these guys.
Yeah, I think though, when we start getting at some of the more stickier topics, it becomes almost an indictment of people who did vote for him, because in a way it's tacitly saying, hey, if you voted for him, you are now an agent of racism in this country. And so that's something that that does come up in conversation. So is there a more nuanced way that can be expressed that, well, if you have a vote and you choose to elect somebody whose allegiances are to certain fringe groups, then you are by association agreeing with these things or these concepts.
But is that fair to call him to call the people who voted for him a racist?
You know what? That's a good question. They may not be,
because there were black people. Trump got more of the black vote than he did of the than Romney did. You know what I'm saying? He got a larger percentage of the Hispanic vote than Romney did. That means something. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe all those people were voting because they were racist. I think the story, a narrative was able to be put out there, and that narrative was that Trump is, that Barack was, by him being who he was, didn't know what the hell he was doing, and that now these other people, we need the white guy who's a businessman to come in. He's going to fix the country, no matter that his businesses were failing, no matter that it was 4 times he went bankrupt. This is the guy that's going to save us, and it happened to not be true. People now see what we got. We got a con man, and that's what I think Trump is.
But this is a point. I mean, I see what you're saying, Nate. But I think the people should be. I think the people should be pointed to. I mean, there's no excuse because you said blacks and Hispanics voted for him. Now, if you ask me, I would say those blacks and Hispanics. Now, this might not be a political correct statement to say on this show, but I don't give a damn. I think those blacks and Latinos who voted for him, and even certain whites who voted for him, are basically they're oxymoronic, and they weren't thinking. Because think about this, and just think about this along all the lines of ethnicities and race. Donald Trump said all type of not only anti-female things before he got elected, grab him by the pussy, things that he would do, things that if Barack Obama or probably any other person would have been recorded to say racist things he said about Mexicans before he even got elected. All these things was pushed in the media to show you what type of person this was. Although he was going against somebody who I still didn't like as a president, and that was Hillary Clinton. I mean, so I guess it was a case of the two of the lesser evils. But think about this. If Barack Obama, before he beat McCain in the 2008 runoff, if he'd have been recorded, and let's just keep it real, if he'd have been recorded talking about grabbing anybody by the pussy or by the ass, if he'd have said anything like that, he'd have been ostracized.
Yep. Rap.
He'd have been ostracized. If a lot of the things that we've seen Trump say and do before he was even voted in couldn't have been done by Barack Obama. What does that tell you about the truth pill of the atmosphere of America? See, these things have to be addressed.
Well, hold on.
So people still voted this clown in. So we have to blame the voters too. What was so important that they could just ignore? They could ignore all the shit he did, all the lies he told since he's been in office. He's going to build a wall. He said he's going to make the Mexican government build a wall. Now he said, oh, no, I'm going to make the American taxpayers pay it. People still support this goddamn clown. He's a clown. He gets on Twitter. He has Twitter fingers, right? He's calling educated people stupid. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man.
Can I just say something? Let me just add on to this.
Go ahead.
I think one of the reasons why you have Black and Latino voters, this is just my opinion, I think, because he was a celebrity. And I think a lot of people get influenced by celebrities.
It's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, come on. Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor, got the spot. Before that, you had Ronald Reagan. He was an actor, got the spot.
That's right.
Now they're trying to focus on, even though she says she's not going to run, they're trying to focus on Oprah Winfrey. You know,
right.
So it's like they focus on celebrities, and so being that they saw him on The Apprentice and they saw Omarosa on there, you know, they figure, oh well, you know, we'll vote for this guy, forgetting the fact that back in 84, 85, this was the same guy that was talking about we should kill these Central Park 5. You know what I'm saying? Execute them. You know, give them this, that, and the third. And then they were exonerated. They were found not guilty of a crime that
they never apologized.
And he never apologized. Why? Because he still think that they did it.
That's right.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So the people are still gonna, you know, people are just now getting wind of how he is. But now they, you know, now it's kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of feels like they put their stake in it, and now they don't want to fall back, because now they're gonna look like, oh, now I look stupid for voting for something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we gotta. Well, all right. So let's groom him some more. Let's prep him some more, and maybe he'll adjust his way. But he's not gonna change. This man is what, like 75, 74 years old, something like that. He's not changing.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's already set in his ways. He already believed what he believed. You're not changing that about him. He's gonna say it, and even if they give him a script, he's gonna go off script and say what he really feels.
Right. So I got a question. Yeah. So okay, and so if we're gonna say that, well, there's certain things that should preclude you from having the presidency. You should never get to that rank or that position in society. And we say, well, you know what? Actually, being an individual who has done racist shit, and when I'm not talking about prejudice, you know, just calling somebody a nigga or whatever. I'm talking about actually, you know, violating the Fair Housing Act and being indicted by the U.S. fucking government.
Something that affects, right.
Because, and this is something I had a conversation with Vecco on Facebook, and this brother can attest to that, where he said, well, what has he done racist? I said, no, look, just to let you know, I'm not talking about prejudice stuff, because everybody got some type of prejudice.
Some kind of prejudice.
That's
some
right.
kind
That's
of
true.
here and there. Yes, true.
Not everybody violates the Fair Housing Act as soon as they come out the gate. You know,
got the power to. That's right.
And got the power to, the influence, right?
And so you can argue that, you know, he's not like that anymore, which fine if you want to believe that, sure. I mean, I don't pretend to know the man's mind, but you cannot argue that these things came to pass. It's in black and white. But so what he did was that, and this is cute. This is kind of tells me what type of voter he is that in his mind, that should not have precluded Trump from the presidency, because he was not a habitual racist. Right. And I found that
habitual racist. Well, hold on. All right, listen to this, guys. I got it fixed up and queued up. All right, here it is. We're sorry about earlier the audio issues, but here it is. This is the clip we were talking about.
President Trump finally condemned hate groups by name, the KKK, neo-Nazis, and other racist organizations, 48 hours after the attack in Charlottesville.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America.
As it turns out, though, his initial response was important too, because it gave fuel to hate groups.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
failing to specify which groups he was talking about and adding many sides to his condemnation actually sent a signal to the most vile of hate groups. Here's why words matter. This is how one of the most vile, racist, neo-Nazi leaders interpreted President Trump's comments. Here's what he said to his readers. Trump's comments were good. He didn't attack us. He just said the nation should come together. Nothing specific against us. When asked to condemn, he just walked out of the room. Really, really good. God bless him. Now, England is not the only one who is racist and speaking up for Trump. David Duke, the former head of the KKK, also spoke up, trying to align himself with Donald Trump again.
We are determined to take our country back. We're going to fulfill the promises of Donald Trump. That's what we believed in. That's why we voted for Donald Trump, because he said he's going to take our country back.
In the past, President Trump has disavowed David Duke and what he stands for. But the president's vague initial comments actually gave fuel to the white supremacy fires, if you will. Their movement took it this way. Hail victory. And to everyone, know this: we are now at war, and we are not going to back down. There will be more events soon.
Well, I think that's clear. So how does that change color your opinion now? Because, you know, it seems like the guy's a flailing racist from the way.
I mean, see, this and this is the point. This is the point I wanted to make. This is the point I want to make on that. When you look at that's why I like that clip, and there's other clips to actually show. He actually opens up a way. He leaves an interpretation instead of him condemning and saying, "Hey, man," even though he came out later, like you said, 2 days later, he leaves an opening to the point. He said, "Well, hey, I don't like it on many sides." What sides are you talking about?
Right.
So when you're talking about this guy lead is saying, "Hey, he didn't condemn us. This is a white supremacist leader." Saying, well, hey, Donald Trump didn't specifically call us out, so we can keep doing what we're doing. And see, this is what he does, and he knows what he's doing with that. And even David Duke speaking out, saying, hey, man, he's not condemning us, so we need to just fulfill. You heard what he said. He said we need to fulfill what Donald Trump wants us to do. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this with Barack Obama and the preacher Jeremiah Wright. When Jeremiah Wright got up in the pulpit and he was talking about goddamn America. I know y'all remember this.
Barack Hussein Obama. That's what he kept calling.
Right. But do you know how fast, not only did people talk about Barack needs to shut down, that's just one person. That was not, I just want to show show the comparisons here. This was a preacher in the church saying that America needed to be condemned for its punishments against black people. He said, goddamn America. Just from that, this was not the Nation of Islam. This wasn't the new regenerated Black Panther Party. This was not an anti-white group. This was a preacher saying America needs to pay for its crimes. Not only did Republicans and Democrats at that time, people from the Senate, all political parties, said Barack Obama needs to cut ties with Jeremiah Wright, made him speak against Jeremiah Wright. But now when things like this happen with Trump, people are tired of Trump. They don't make him do this. I mean, it's things. It's like, okay, it's okay, Trump, you can get away with this. We're gonna let you slide with things that we ain't letting nobody else slide with. I mean, so the racism, man, is really clear. It's right in our face, really. I don't know what else to say about this clown.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you said it before where you didn't think he was too bright. You know what I'm saying?
Oh hell no, he ain't bright.
I
can't wait till you play that clip.
Oh, you want to let's play.
Yeah, please.
So
please.
Set it up, Empress. Let's set up the next clip.
You have the clip ready, right?
Yeah, I got it ready.
Well, this particular
set it up.
There's so many of these clips. We could go all night with these clips. But this particular clip, y'all, is done by a friend of mine named Vic Berger. And basically, Vic Berger just put together a bunch of moronic clips of your president, Donald Trump, saying that the F-35 military plane was actually invisible. He actually thinks it's invisible. And there's a lady, her name is Elizabeth Wing. He kept calling her Elizabeth Lockheed. But the lady works for fucking Lockheed. Her name is not Lockheed. It just shows you how dumb this guy is.
You talking about Lockheed Martin?
Yeah, but it's a lady.
He kept calling her Lockheed.
He kept calling her by her first name and her last name.
What?
He kept-
Let the people watch.
Y'all gonna see. Y'all watch this dumb shit, man. Just watch this stupid shit.
Now again, inside you're not gonna be able to see the clip. Outside they are gonna see the clip.
But long as the people can, the people can't see the clip.
They can see and hear. So people outside can see and hear. All right.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. We'll let you see it later, Advocate.
All right.
We have some of our great business leaders and leaders, period, right behind me. I may ask Marilyn Lockheed, the leading woman's business executive in this country, according to many. And we buy billions and billions of dollars worth of that beautiful F-35. It's stealth. You cannot see it. Is that correct? Better be correct, right? Of planes, in particular the F-35 fighter jet, which is, almost like an invisible fighter. Bye. I was asking the Air Force guys, I said, how good is this plane? They said, well, sir, you can't see it. I said, yeah, but in a fight, a fight like I watch on the movies, the fight, they're fighting. How good is it? They say, well, it wins every time because the enemy cannot see it. Even if it's right next to it, it can't see it. Ding, ding, ding.
Is he thinking like Wonder Woman, Invisible Jet?
We have equipment that nobody has the equipment. Nobody has the equipment. So amazing that we're ordering hundreds of millions of dollars worth of new airplanes. Bye-bye. Especially the F-35. Do you like the F-35? I said, how does it do it in fights? And how do they do in fights with the F-35? I said, we do very well. You can't see it. You can't see it. So it's hard to fight a plane that you can't see, right? But that's an expensive plane that you can't see. That's an expensive plane that you can't see.
Hello?
The F-35 aircraft, that's the most sophisticated aircraft in the world. Jet fighters. Bye-bye. Total stealth. They're hard to find. They're hard to see, therefore they're hard to beat. It's very tough to beat a plane when you can't see it. Marilyn Lockheed. Thank you, Marilyn. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you, Marilyn. Hey, Fred, she makes a plane you can't see. It's stealth. F-35. I hope you can't see it at least, right? Great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for watching that. If you enjoyed it,
man. Yo, you guys got to subscribe to this guy's channel.
View it, like it, love it. Comment, tell us all.
You guys
about
got to
what
definitely
you like.
subscribe to this guy's channel. He's really good.
Yeah,
but
Vic,
so
I
that's
like
the
Vic,
clip.
man.
So that's the clip.
Hey, please subscribe to my boy Vic Burger channel, man. He does a great job.
Yo, so this guy really thinks that this plane is invisible. It's like he thinks it's like the invisible
But
jet.
you know what, Drag? Hey, you know what, Drag? Not only is he an idiot of the fourth kind, but he kept calling this lady. Her name is Marilyn Houston, man.
Yeah.
He called her Marilyn Lockheed at 2 different events. I mean, like nobody even corrected him the first time. He said, "Man, the lady's name is not fucking Marilyn Lockheed, man." He called her Marilyn Lockheed twice. Did you see how his wife gave him the side eye? His wife looked at him like, "Damn, I'm married to a dumbass dude." But
word up.
I mean, I would hope that he would know at least the name of the company that works hand in hand with the government. It spends billions, and I mean, there's a Lockheed Martin around the corner from me right now. Billions of dollars.
Yeah, don't they spend billions of dollars in armed defenses and stuff like that?
Oh yes,
they
do. Contractor. Oh yes, one of the biggest government contractors, and you would figure that the guy at the head of this organization would kind of say, hey, and know the difference between the company and a representative of that company. But I don't, whatever, right? I don't.
He dumb as shit, man. He dumb as shit. I'm sorry.
I mean, can I just say something too? Let me just tell you something. I just found out something. I think I posted it on Facebook that when Donald dumbass posts, anytime he talks about America first or make America great again, he's actually echoing what David Duke said back in the early 80s.
Exactly.
That's what he's echoing. He's echoing that. And that was, and remember, David Duke was still is the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So I don't understand.
Well, not anymore. He's not anymore.
Well, he's not anymore, but he still got ties
to Tiny Wizard.
Yeah, but he still have ties to them. You already know that.
Of course.
So I don't understand Veckel and how he would try to defend this man and say that he's not a racist.
We're gonna talk about Veckel later on another segment, though. So
okay, but I'm just saying, I just had that. Like, I don't get it. Like,
but
right there.
Doesn't this Trump stuff go to all? It even goes farther than that. This Trump stuff goes to, let's say, Colin Kaepernick, because again, he's sitting there screaming that these guys should be fired, Colin Kaepernick. But then I bet you, on the other hand, these conservatives talking about the argument for Colin Kaepernick, against Colin Kaepernick is, hey, the NFL's a private corporation and they can do what they want, right? He's an employee. They don't want your employees kneeling. They can say don't kneel because we paying you. And that was their whole argument. But now that Alex Jones is kicked off, now it's he should get free speech. But no, Alex Jones is on somebody else's shit. He's more or less an employee of YouTube or whoever. He's going to their platforms and doing his shit. And if they say we don't want you, they should have the same rights too. So even the storyline is inconsistency. Black people, you got to stand up. You got to. But Alex Jones, who's saying child actors that got shot in Sandy Hook, he should stay on the air. You know what I'm saying? Because the president, the double standard is just throwing it right in your face all the time. I mean,
well, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we all know Colin Kaepernick didn't disrespect the flag. As a matter of fact, I downloaded. Well, I was looking on a PDF about the flag code, and when the flag is at half staff, if I'm not mistaken, it has something to do with showing respect for the fallen soldiers, and anyone else that had died. So actually, Colin Kaepernick was not disrespecting the soldiers. He was showing respect, but he took a knee and to voice his upset about what's continuing to go on in the Black community as far as police brutality and all the other things that are going on. And that's why he took a knee. He said, well, I'm not going to stand, but I'll take a knee. And that's basically a flag at half staff. So
he did that at the behest of a veteran contacted him because
told him don't sit down.
Yeah, don't sit down.
Say that again. I didn't even know this. Say that again.
Yeah.
So a veteran asked him to do this.
Because a veteran contacted him because at the very beginning, and I learned this very recently going to a debate thing at my own school.
Yeah, this is.
A veteran contacted him and said, look, you sitting down is disrespectful. I understand, I'm a black man too, but you don't need to disrespect the flag like that. So what you can do is that you can kneel so that you give the proper, reverence for the symbol.
Yeah, because he was sitting at first. Yeah, then he started kneeling. And matter of fact, after he started kneeling, if y'all remember, there was a big group of military people that supported him. Majority black and a lot of white, military people started supporting Colin Kaepernick. But this is the thing. I want to say this too, man, before we move to drag segment, whenever y'all want to move to the next science segment. I want to say this too. I'm sure y'all familiar with all the killings just happened in Chicago.
Yeah, the weekend. That was crazy.
All of the shootings over the weekend. I'm sure y'all familiar with that.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, fill him
in. Well, there was a lot of shootings just happened, man. Which it happens in Chicago. In the last 7-8 years, Chicago really been out of fucking control.
Yeah.
Cut out?
Yeah, I think he probably had a call or something and it probably booted him out or something. But give him a chance to get back. But
Imp is gone again. He got to get off the McDonald's Wi-Fi, as we always call it, right? Starbucks. They're like, you've been sitting down too long, Black. They cut this Wi-Fi. He gone.
That's why we called the cops on y'all.
They cut the Wi-Fi.
Y'all want everything. A lot of racist people keep going on. Y'all just want everything free. Like, what are you talking about?
You know what, though? I'm going to keep it real. I don't think they're racist. I think what happens is nobody wants to believe that there's this type of system in the United States. Nobody wants to believe that the United States has these issues. Like, for instance, the next segment, this is actually a nice segue to the next segment, is that we were talking about earlier about 90 in New York City, a very liberal city. Nobody would say New York is a bastion of conservative values. It's a very liberal city. And in New York, they found, they did a study, and out of all the pot arrests that occur in New York City, 93% of those people who are arrested are people of color. Now, at first glance, you'd be like, well, that's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? If, maybe they're just using the drug more. That would be your first thing, right? Oh, they just obviously using the drug more or something like that. So even when adjusted for that, even when adjusted for, whites actually use the drug just as much or even more than black people, than people of color. And still, 93% of the time, an arrest happens with African Americans, and it's with people of color, and that is a statistic that you can't hide. That's something that you can't hide. So here, there's a quick clip about it. Let me throw it up.
Emperor back.
But you guys.
I didn't have my computer plugged up. I thought I had it plugged up. It went dead on me.
All right, you guys are going to be able to hear the clip, but people outside.
What clip is this? What clip is this, Nate?
This is the clip of people being arrested in NYC and what the city's supposedly doing about it.
Yeah, I want to finish my point too when we get to that.
All right, go ahead. Well, we were just transitioning since you were here, but
all right, go ahead. Go ahead do that, and I'll get back to my point.
All right, let me throw this clip on real quick.
And we've seen these arrest charts here in New York City. The use of marijuana is very high among white New York City residents. They do not bear their share of the arrests. The minority population wildly overrepresented in these arrests on marijuana.
Let's figure out a way to really provide relief to the communities that have been under siege for 20 years. And let's actually really think about how we want to deal with marijuana in a way that doesn't overcriminalize communities and exhaust very limited resources.
Cassandra Frederique, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
That's a ridiculous damn question, Nate. You know damn well it's racism.
Well,
and I'm gonna compare. Okay, Drag, you want to hit on that first?
Yeah,
go ahead, Drag.
I'm gonna go in on this shit. I'm gonna go in.
I know. Before you do, because the first thing people of course, the black guy's saying no, everything's racism.
Right.
The first thing out of every conversation is, let's minimize what people have actually experienced. And so that's fine. But here, if the rate of use is the same, 93% is ridiculous for the arrest, because the arrest should represent the actual users of this illicit substance. Like that's right. And that's the thing. No one's saying that people shouldn't be arrested for the crime. Well, a large part of us now are all saying for any demographic, but to have that type of disparity, who is making the arrests and what motivation would they have to have in order for them to be missing all the other users out there? So really, I'm open to speculation, but I'm completely incredulous to the fact that people will ignore the reason why the war on drugs was created in the first place. We have John Ehrlichman, who is quoted before his death by letting folks know, like during the Nixon administration, here's why we want to target minorities and hippies, because they were the base of our enemies, and so we could put them in prison. Then hey, that makes things much simpler. And people can go, I'm paraphrasing, but people can go look up that if they want to. And it's like, this is stuff we already know. Like we have, there's no question about that. But again and again, people will want to deny that. That is a huge motivator. But as a police officer, Nate, have you seen this hyper attention by your fellow officers in the past towards minorities, and almost to the point that they would ignore offenders who were not minorities?
I'll say this. When I was out there, running around and doing my thing, it was different in the sense that it was almost like you expected. You build up a reputation, and maybe it's one of a mental failing, But like when I was in Harlem and I encountered African Americans or people of color, that experience was different than if I was downtown. You know what I'm saying? And it was different not because of anything that I would do, but it was just different because of the way that I was, what I expected. Like when you're in a bad neighborhood, you expect bad shit to happen, and you expect, you know, and your guard is always up. And I feel bad to say this, but at a point it was like you're programmed into you that, hey, you know, you're out there trying to protect them from themselves instead of out there serving them as an officer.
Right.
And that type of, it fed into this whole mantra. And I would say this, when you're arresting someone, before there's an arrest, there's usually a conversation. Like, hey, you know, what's going on? What's your name? Where you going? What you doing? And I do think that white officers or people, even in my own position, if you see somebody downtown in a good neighborhood, you know, just having, you know, smoking an L or whatever, or a joint, you're going to be like, you're going to be more like, throw that away and go on with your business than if you're uptown and, you know, you're going to be more likely to probably put handcuffs on. And that's just the reality of it. But that could be overcome with training. Like if police officers were trained to understand that, hey, the same way you police downtown is the same way you got to police uptown. And there should be no difference. If you're going to let Johnny go with a joint downtown, up to downtown, you got to let, you know, Kareem with a joint uptown go too. But, you know, but I think it's inbred in racism. I'll tell you that it's interesting. There's one story when I was a security guard for a store one time, and we were losing like a whole bunch of shit. And one time, in the store, we saw like the kids that used to always come in. We knew they were stealing shit, but we never could catch them. So one time we saw them, we was all hanging out. I think we was playing ball or something. And we had all saw them. And we was like, yo, what's up? Y'all ain't come by the store? We ain't see y'all in a while. They was like, yeah. He's like, you guys were so stupid. We were like, why? He was like, we would just go walking around the store and a white guy would come behind us and steal all the shit and walk out. And y'all would be so busy watching us that y'all was losing all y'all shit to him. And he was cutting them a check for distracting us, you know? And the only thing they said they would do was just walk around the store, pick something up, you know, look around and shit like that. And that had everybody's attention. And a white guy came right behind him and just started packing shit up and walking out the store. And nobody ever knew, and nobody even knew that was going on. But that was because we were so hypersensitive and not understanding that if you treated everybody as a person, then you wouldn't have that problem. But we were just so hyper focused on black people and thinking they were bad. And I think if I can be like that and I'm black, then how do people who don't interact with black people every day, how would they feel, you know? And I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Damn, that was long-winded as a motherfucker. You guys gotta cut me off because I started preaching this Sunday too.
We do, man.
I was about to say hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Yeah, hey, but I want to say this, man. I'm glad y'all jumped to that too, man, while my computer went there. But this is the thing, man. And even before I go into what I was going to say before my computer went out, you're right, and Drag is right too. I mean, the numbers just don't lie. Because I remember, and I know y'all remember this too, when there was a differentiation between powder cocaine and crack cocaine, late 80s, early 90s, and these RICO acts came into effect.
Yeah.
And we know that this was coming from the Ronald Reagan Bush administration. We know that these things were straight aimed at minorities, okay? And then, and not only that, I mean, even when we look at the disparaging stats on same sentence. I know y'all. I have stats for this from Harvard peer reviews, from Stanford, on as far as UCLA criminal divisions on how probation is given out more to whites for the same crime than it was to blacks. Armed robberies or whatever type crimes carried. We know that blacks were 70% more likely to get way more time for the same event. So this thing is deeper than police officers. Police officers are, and no disrespect, Nate, but police officers are pawns, just small little pawns in a bigger game, in a bigger justice system scheme. So police officers, black or white or whatever, are just trained to do a certain job and have a certain mindset. They're like soldiers that's been, tested with Agent Orange.
Facts.
Some of them think for themselves and go out and, because you have, let's get this straight. You have great white officers in this country, great white police officers in this country who goes to black communities all the time. I mean, y'all even see videos of certain these officers. These officers who, matter of fact, I've reached out to some of them. Officer Mullins in Maryland, who always goes through the roughest neighborhoods in Baltimore and plays basketball with the kids, try to get them to go on. So we can't put everybody in a basket. But on the flip side, because we got to be fair and equal on this show. And this is the point I want to get to before we move on to Drag's science segment, unless y'all had something else to add.
No.
Back what I was saying about Chicago and what's been going on in Chicago. And I'm not just going to put Chicago on blast, but I'm from LA, man. I grew up in Inglewood, grew up banging. But Chicago, man, at least for the last 10 years, has been the worst example of black on black crime, man. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Chicago, man. I've promoted some shows in Chicago the last 5-6 years. It's bad, dude. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about Chicago. People trying to say, oh, Barack, this is his grassroots. What can he do? Well, hell, you got Farrakhan, Nation Islam up there. I don't know what we can do, okay? I ain't got no solution for myself. But I can say this. I'm going to say this. We're on here talking about Trump. We're talking about his racist views or his racist inactions or his racist indirect actions. This is the thing that we got to say for ourselves, too. When shit like this happens amongst ourselves, no police is involved, okay? Black Lives Matter. This is why I never jumped on the boat for Black Lives Matter. When we're killing ourselves in the streets, you don't hear from these damn groups, okay? You don't hear from the groups that's screaming about police brutality. We got to come up with something where we can stop the ignorance and hate just as much as we hate the bigotry and racism of Trump and whoever else you want to name. But like Drag say, not prejudice white people. We don't care about prejudice because prejudice don't affect our lives or our money. But racist people of power affects us. But ignorant, criminalized people of our own who don't want to listen, going around just killing each other. I mean, what we're gonna do about that? We need to start screaming about that just as much as we scream about what happened. And much love to those brothers. Much love to Sandra. Rest in peace to her and all this Castile and all these people. Trayvon Martin. We get all of that. We understand it, and that ain't gonna stop. Honestly, it's gonna keep happening until something drastic happen in reverse. But what about us doing to ourselves? We got to address that more too. So that's all I wanted to say.
But the thing is that I can see how the racists like to take that and twist that. Oh, like as soon as you say there's a problem with law enforcement. They say, look at Chicago. They're killing each other like animals in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that Chicago has a problem. Just like there are places that in white America that have problems with opioids and stuff like that. But that doesn't, it's not like we can't, do more than one thing at a time. We can obviously understand that there's a crisis in poverty and education and opportunity out there in Chicago, and that's driving this particular thing that's going on in Chicago. But we can also recognize that law enforcement that over polices one segment of the population here in New York, here in California, may be consistent throughout the system, but that doesn't mean that we can't, that Chicago doesn't have its own unique problems. And the 93% of all of marijuana arrests in New York isn't a problem that we can address too. So I say that to say this: yes, we have to be more active in our community, but we can chew gum and walk at the same time. And just because they have huge problems in Chicago doesn't mean that the facts about how police are over policing certain communities are not relevant to this conversation. That's true. Doesn't have to be solved. So Drag. So here we go. We're going to play. We set up the next clip, Drag, because this is your clip about the sun. What's up? Drag, you muted. Drag? You muted, Drag.
Yep, sorry about that. So, my bad. We're going to change gears a little bit. We'll talk about something interesting now. Some of y'all might have saw this on Yahoo Answers. Yahoo. Some of y'all might have saw this on whatever news outlet, if you like. I think it's a Crash Course Sign. I don't know, whatever these damn things are. But actually, instead of going back to the moon like people saying they want to do, we're going to send a probe to the sun. Now, yeah, so what we're trying to do is get some of these dumb motherfuckers to go walk on it. So that's the ultimate goal, is to try and find some of these flat earthers and some of these other dumbasses to go walk on that motherfucker. So you know what? That'll take care of some problems right there. But seriously, so they're gonna send this thing. It's a probe, right? It's made by Johns Hopkins Physics Lab, right? And they're gonna probe the sun's atmosphere. And so they got 3 goals, right? To trace the flow of energy and that heats the corona and accelerates the solar wind, all the little particles and stuff to shoot out from the sun, and determine the structure and dynamics of the magnetic fields at the source of the solar winds. Because just like our planet, the sun has its own magnetic field. And so determine what mechanisms accelerate and transport these energetic particles. So we're trying to pack these science books in with some more information about the sun. So that's what's up.
All right.
Well, you mentioned flat earthers. Okay.
Well, hold on. Let me hit them with the clip so these guys can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're going to take all the flat earthers and load them up and go make them walk on the sun.
Wait. Before you start that clip, wait. Are we going to show that clip and then we're going to talk about the flat earthers?
Yeah, we're going to show the clip and then we're going to talk about it.
All right.
Cool. Remember, you guys can only hear.
Right.
NASA is going a place where no spacecraft has gone before. Take a look at this.
3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff of the mighty Delta IV Heavy rocket.
It's headed to the sun. After a 24-hour delay, NASA has launched its first unmanned probe to the sun.
She wish you would have been there with all the thousands of people watching. The Parker Solar Probe is carrying a sensor that will extend beyond the sun's heat shield to get samples of our star's atmosphere. The first download of data back to Earth is expected in early December after reaching its first close approach of the sun in November. It's booking it toward the sun, in other words. Retired NASA astronaut Leroy Child joins us now via Skype from Hong Kong. We always enjoy talking with you about this cool stuff. Leroy, thank you for joining us. And first of all, what an impressive sight, huh? It was a Delta IV Heavy rocket, and it sure looked heavy, didn't it, taking off?
Absolutely. Delta IV Heavy is one of the biggest rockets we have in the arsenal here, and having it launch a probe like this, an important probe, is certainly an exciting event.
Right, and they had to scrub it yesterday, but off it went today. And it's really remarkable that it's going to get there and start sending back data so soon. And I was reading that even though it'll be some 3 million miles still away from the sun, it will be 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit where this space probe will be. How are they doing that? How are they keeping this intact with all that heat?
Right, well, we're pretty good at building heat shields, so that's going to protect the sensitive electronics inside of the vehicle as well as the other components. But the sensors outside are going to be looking at the corona of the sun, the atmosphere, if you will, and making some unprecedented direct measurements of the solar wind, that is the charged particles streaming away from the sun at supersonic speeds, which was first postulated by Dr. Parker all those years ago, and he was eventually proved right. And so it's neat to see that this probe, which is named after Dr. Parker, who's still alive at the age of 91.
Wow.
Exciting to see us learn more about our star, which is about 4 billion years old and about halfway through its life.
And wonderful that he gets to see this happen. Leroy, question for you. How fast is this thing going?
Oh gosh, I think it's the fastest spacecraft that we've ever launched, and I believe it's somewhere in the 450 million miles, 1,000 miles an hour, something like that.
We'll believe you. Yes, and I think when it gets there, it will be the fastest moving man-made object ever, going 430,000 miles per hour. I mean, we're
okay, I was close.
Pretty fast.
What big picture things can we learn about star formation? What will they be looking at? This mission, this is going to last several years too, of data.
Right. Right. Well, we're going to be looking mostly at the corona because, that's about as close as we can get without melting the spacecraft. And so, interestingly, the corona is about 300 times hotter than what is defined as the surface of the sun. And so it's kind of a mysterious area. Generally, the farther you get away from an object, the cooler it's going to be. And so hopefully it'll be able to pick up some clues as to what it is about the corona that makes it actually hotter than the defined surface of the sun. So that solar wind, it's going to be making those direct measurements, very exciting stuff. And I'm sure there will be a lot of scientific discoveries that come out of it that we hadn't even anticipated.
That would be so exciting.
Leroy, just briefly, you mentioned solar winds. Remind people around the world the impact of solar winds, on the United States, on many countries around the world, vital,
Sure.
important equipment.
Right, absolutely. So solar wind is they're charged particles streaming away from the sun at supersonic speeds, and of course they impact all the planets in our solar system to varying degrees depending on how far they are away. And in our case, we have a magnetosphere, that is, the Earth has the magnetic field lines, we have the Van Allen belts, and those those fields capture most of the charged particle radiation coming from the sun, which is why life and our atmosphere is able to flourish on the Earth. So very important stuff, and it's very exciting that this probe is going to teach us a lot more about those solar particles.
So what do you guys think?
Hey, man, I'm loving it.
We're sitting in probes to the sun.
Progress, man. That's scientific progress.
That's it. I mean, anything, man, that progresses in our knowledge. I mean, that's what science is. Anything that progresses us, man. And I went to school for physics, so I love physics. I love astrophysics. Anything that progresses us forward and not backwards.
But what about the argument that they're spending all? There's people here dying. There's people here that can't that don't got anything to eat. And we spending billions of dollars to send probes to be destroyed by the sun. What about looking inward first and taking care of what we need to take care of here before spending all that money to go there?
Well, I just go back to what you just said. What Carl Sagan said years ago. I mean, what a lot of people are saying now. What you just said, you said we can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, right? I think that when you talk about spending, that's like a it's almost like a catch-22, but it's really not a catch-22. We actually, as far as our government is concerned, I don't think we should never ever cut off funding for education and for scientific education. Never. Period.
Never. Right.
I think that's a bad thing to try to say, hey man, we need to cut off this so we can help this. It's like you're trying to make it out of a pool, like a tug of war type thing. I don't think that's the case. That's the case at all. I think even though our government can be, our funding do have its problems at times for us. Who do we want to help, or how do we help them? What percentage of funding should this particular group get? But I mean, I think we should definitely help our elderly when it comes to Medicaid. I think we should help our elderly when it comes to medicine. I think we should come up with a better plan how to do that, how to make healthcare better. But at the same time, we need to feed our hungry too, help our homeless out. And I think that's something. I think we can do all these particular things, you know what I mean? Because, and we definitely need to continue to educate our youth with science. We need more science labs. I think we need more planetariums around the country. So I don't think we should cut spending on that at all. I think we should be able to do everything. Should do it all.
I don't know. I guess it all depends on how the budget is, or you know what I'm saying? I don't think it should get cut either. I mean, there's people that are hungry around the world, definitely, and in this country as well, it should be funded to make sure people have something to eat, a decent place to live. But I'm believing in education as well, and
right.
I'm not afraid of technology. You know what I'm saying? I think technology is a great thing to help us advance. Only problem I would have with technology is who's the one that's behind the technology and what is their intent? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is your intentions when you are making this technology? Is this intention to advance
over the world,
humanity?
baby.
Like, is it
over the world?
Well, you have some that want to use it for that, but I don't look at it like that. I look at technology as something to help us advance. The science. Right. I think science is important, so that way we understand everything, and at the same time we can get out of all of this like religious dogma or superstition, or he's sick. Oh, that must mean he might have the devil in him.
But how do you deal with all that? Because don't forget that they don't look at climate change. 99.9% of scientists believe climate change is real, and they don't believe in climate change. Like, you know,
Mhm.
I do agree. I think science does have its place, but you know, we talk to people all the time online who throw the science right out when it disagrees with their theological point of view. You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
They deny the Earth being round. They deny this. You know,
That vaccine work, and so actually, man,
Yeah.
that's a good segue into to us getting down to the nitty gritty.
Go ahead,
That's
Drag.
right.
Take us
Before you do
there.
that, before you do that, now the flat earthers, I'm familiar with these. I'm familiar with these. I don't know where the hell they got their shit from. Like, I don't know. An old friend of mine, we no longer friends because he got on that idiot shit. You know, I say idiot shit. You know, idiot. You know, so he started telling me the stuff he was doing on YouTube about these flat earthers, and I said, flat earthers. I said, what? We going back to Christopher Columbus days now? It's like, yo, remember back in Christopher Columbus days when he wanted to prove how he so-called wanted to prove the world was round, that the kings and queens would, you know, everyone that there laughed at him and said, oh no, we know the world is flat and blah, 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 this, that, and the third. So when my old friend brought that up to me, I was just like, how is it that the world is flat? How? If the world is flat, that means it has an edge, doesn't it? Like, you know what I'm saying? That means there's an end. There's an end at one point, there's an end at another point. So I don't understand. Like, so what is this? What is the Earth revolving around? Or what is the moon revolve? I just didn't get it. I couldn't. You know, maybe y'all have more knowledge about it, but I couldn't wrap
I
my
know what it's
brain
called.
around.
I can help. I can help you. It's called
Yeah.
stupidity.
Yeah.
It's called
We need to do a
stupidity.
whole show just on that.
Yeah,
We really do.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's deeper, yeah.
You're taking us to another level. We call it stupidity, but Drag. Let's let Drag move us on because we're gonna start the flat Earth. We're gonna really jump off the edge, as you call it.
Oh no,
I'm
yeah,
ready to jump off the edge right now.
It's gonna be monsters and shit now.
Go ahead,
trust me,
Drag.
man. We got some crazy folks on this flat Earth shit, but
Yeah.
all right. Speaking
Nitty
of,
gritty.
so now that we already broached the topic a little bit. Now, you recall me talking to your brother, and for those of you who have not realized yet from us saying it, this is the advocate here is Beckel's actual blood brother.
Oh yeah.
This is his actual blood, and I keep mentioning this man, and he's a stark contrast from his brother from a variety of reasons. Now, I'd had some exchanges with Veckel on Facebook about some of the stupid shit that he would put up there, and one of the things is that he was promoting this nonsense. He said he wouldn't promote it; he was just sharing it and defending it. So, you know, let me correct myself. When you put something out there and you start defending it, I get the impression that you're trying to promote the shit. So I don't. Maybe I'm crazy.
I would say you promoting it because I used to be a promoter, so I know. Like, yo, come on.
Right. So evidently I'm dumb, and everybody else who saw it was dumb. So
Right.
so when I say, well, you're putting this stuff out here, Vecco, have you actually looked into any of these vaccines? You know, you because you already said you don't have any actual educational background at even remotely on any of this stuff, so you're reliant upon people in the field, which is fine. So what he ended up telling me was that he wants to see people on both sides, and that he's going to make a determination based on them having a debate. And I said, look, man, that's not how science works. That's not how any of this works.
Right.
You know, Neil deGrasse Tyson don't go and debate Lawrence Krauss, and whoever wins, that's what they put in the book. Like, that's not how that works.
Right. It doesn't work.
And so I had to explain to him, it's like, you go where the data is, you go where the evidence is, man. That's why we got peer review. That's why we have all these stringent processes that put things through a filter, so that what we get out is the most efficacious thing that you can contrive for all of society, right? But in his mind, that's not how reality works. And so maybe from your perspective, man, when you saw that exchange between me and your brother, how did you receive that?
Man, I just saw my impression of my brother, like, you know, him doing that. It was just like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know what there was someone who said that there was this philosopher or somebody who says that there's just some people that you'll tell them that they're looking at a wall, and no matter how much you try to tell them that they're looking at a wall, they would rather just look at the wall. You know what I'm saying? There's some guy that told me some philosophy like that. I don't know. But that's how I looked at my brother. You know, I looked at my brother like, you're still looking at the wall, even though that there's other evidence to show that you're looking at a wall and you're choosing to look at the wall. Like, you know, that's the best way I can describe it. But also, too, I was looking at it, I was going like, he wasn't listening. And he wanted to be right. And I was just like, okay, especially when he said, well, I don't know anything about science. Perhaps you can look it up and get back to me. So when he did that, and then Drag said, oh, so you're scientifically illiterate. Oh my God, Beckel seemed like to me had a meltdown because all of a sudden now he wanted an apology from Drag. I was just like, I'm looking at it, I'm reading the comments, and I'm going like, why are you asking for apology? Or and then Drag was explaining it to him. It was just like, well, you just finished saying you don't know anything about science, so you're scientifically illiterate. But after Drag explained that part to him, Beckel still wanted an apology. He still wanted an apology. He still was like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the assertion of my character. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You just said, and then it was crazy because Drag blew him up, like really blew him up. Like he screenshot it, and you can use the feature on your phone where you can like use like the ink pen and just circle stuff and stuff like that. He circled it, posted it back to him in the comments, and even put an arrow on it and said, "This is what you said." And then Beckel still didn't want to accept that, and I was just like, I didn't understand. I let me tell you something. Over the years, I'll give you a little backstory between me and my brother's relationship before all of this shit. He and I used to build. We used to talk, just like how we're talking now. We used to talk like this all the time. You know what I'm saying? Build, blah, blah, blah. I've never seen him like this before, as so far gone as a religious fanatic like this. Like,
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, there you go. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. I'm Christian, bitch. Now, anyway, so, you know what I'm saying?
Did you just say you're a Christian bitch?
I'm Christian, bitch.
I'm Christian, bitch.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ died for your sins, bitch.
Well, die for your sins. Enjoy yourself. So I was just like, I was just listening to this guy, and I was just trying to understand, like, here's a man like Drag who studies this. He goes to school for, stuff like this. He has a reason why he wants to study it, because he wants to help, because I think it has something to do, Drag, it has something to do with this, how like diseases or illnesses impacted you in some way. Cancer impacted you in some way, like personally, something like that.
Yeah, but a lot of my family members.
A lot of your family members, and that's what gave you the drive, the will to want to learn this, so that way you can figure out, maybe I can create a cure, and that's honorable. You know what I'm saying? So here we go with Beckel using religion. This is how I took it. He's using religion because I talked to Beckel later after they went back and forth, and I said to him, and I said, no, I think I was still commenting, and I said, Beckel, what is your issue? He said, scroll back up and you'll see. And I said, look, I already read all of that. What is your issue? It seems like you have an issue because like he already explained everything and you're not listening. So you have an issue somewhere, but you're not being honest about it. You know what I'm saying? You're not being totally honest. And when you say stuff like honesty, what are you talking about? I'm honest. He's almost sounding like Donald Trump. I'm the most honest person that you'll know. So it's just like, hey, I told him, I said, your issue was not with Drag. Your issue was with science.
That's cold. That cut real deep. That cut real deep.
I said, your issue was with science. You have an issue with science. You don't have an issue with Drag. You have an issue with science, but you want Drag to apologize for saying something that you don't know. Like that's how I looked at it. You want him to apologize for basically no. He wanted him to apologize because Beckel felt like Drag called him a name. This is how childish his mind went. And if you ask me, it was kind of childish. Oh, you want him to apologize because you felt like he called you a name, like he called you a punk bitch, and all this kind of crazy shit.
So hold on. So what happened? Did eventually did he realize the error of his ways? Did you were you able to convince him? What happened?
No. Not at all. There was another woman that came on there that told Veckel that my dad studies this stuff, gave him a long paragraph. I mean, like breaking it down for him. He still rejected her. And I was just like, how? This woman said her dad is in this field. Like, how are you trying to tell people? First off, what do you really know about what do you really know about vaccines? First off, what do you know about vaccines and how does it work? Because obviously, Veckel never studied on it. He never researched it. You know what I'm saying? So how do you know that the immunization shot, the immunization vaccination is the cause of young children being born autistic? How do you know that? And all he went off of was a post. He went off of a post. He didn't research it. You could tell because he was asked all these questions and he just kept pivoting and following, you know what I'm saying, trying to move away from it and wanted, because in his head, this is, if it's not fitting his narrative, then it's got to be wrong.
But I'd like to ask you this because it seems like you guys have vastly different opinions on things like vaccines and, you know, and Christianity. You know, was that something that just developed naturally, or was there like a turning point between you two where you went one way? Because I'm kind of the same way with my family too. My brother, he believes, you know, he prays. He's Muslim. He prays 5 times a day. He don't eat pork. If I throw a pork chop on his plate, he ready to have a fight. You know, it gets serious like that.
I told you that to disrespect me.
That's right. You know, I can't even say bacon in the man's presence anymore. But
like, no, you say bacon. It's like, no, bro. I was talking about some other bacon, man.
But it seems like
turkey bacon. I said turkey
bacon.
Right.
But it seems like you got the same issue though. It's like, because at the end of the day, I forgot what you told me. What happened with you and him on Facebook at the end of the day?
I can't really remember after that. I just know that I believe Drag had something to do, or he was done like with Veckel. I guess he was just.
I think I just cut it off because I said.
Yeah, he just cut it off because he was already done. But me and Veckel kept going, and after a while, and I think it was from this post, or it was another one. I don't know, but it wasn't too far after that. Veckel blocked me on Facebook.
Damn, he blocked.
He blocked
his
me,
brother.
My brother, my biological brother. Yeah, who I grew up with. He blocked me. And the main reason why he blocked me.
That's got a hardcore right there.
Yeah. And the reason why he blocked me, is because me and another woman and another guy, obviously they were white, you know, but they were Christian. And
praise be.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what the conversation was, but it basically, they had a tone that they spoke like they were trivializing the Black experience, and I didn't like that. And I called them out on their shit. And I said, yo, listen, here you go trivialize. I'm not trivializing. I think we just need love and we need to just stop all of this, da 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 da. And I said, it was something Malcolm X said. If somebody stab you in the back, you're not going to heal from that wound by me taking the knife out of your back 2 inches, not even 4 inches. Not even if I take the knife out all the way. No, how you start to heal is when I clean and dress the wound. That's when the healing begins. You know what I'm saying? So
I hear that.
This is the thing that, you know, a lot of times, you know, you get some white folks that honestly feel that they're not racist. But when you talk about color, they, you know, when you talk about the issue of race, they feel some type of way. They feel uncomfortable with it.
Well,
right?
But you know, hell, even Black people feel uncomfortable. Like
yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah, absolutely.
If I was in
but
a
I'm
room
just
full
saying,
of white people and somebody
I'm
brought
just
up
saying
race, I'd be like,
because
oh my God, you know, we got to talk about that shit now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let me
alone in this motherfucker. You know?
Let me explain something. You're free to hang out with whoever you want. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem.
Amen
You
to
can
that.
hang out whatever you want, whether it be Black, white, Spanish, Asian, gay, tranny. It doesn't matter. If that's who you feel and you're vibing, no one can tell you who you can hang or who you shouldn't hang with. You should be able to hang with whoever you want. However, the thing that I'm seeing about Jay is that he seems to hang with only a specific group of people, and he don't expand his mind enough. Now, my mom raised both of us to where she wanted us to learn to communicate or be friends with everyone. That's every race. And when growing up, my brother was very diverse. Like, he had a black friend, Spanish friend, Asian friend. You know what I'm saying? I was like that too. Black friend, Spanish friend, Asian friend. We were friends with this white family for at least like 6-7 years. You know what I'm saying? Still keep in contact every now and then. But you know what I'm saying? Him in particular, you know, he seems to me like he feels more comfortable hanging around white folks that are Christian. I can't honestly say if that's all he hangs out with is just white people in general, but the group that he hangs out with are white Christians mostly. You know what I'm saying? Like him and his wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just saying, well,
I'm just going to keep it real. I don't really see like a problem with I do understand, you know, being a fundamentalist. I do understand that. But you know, like if you're hanging out with white Christians, so what? You know what I'm saying? I hang out with white people all the time too. It's you know, I don't think the fact that they white Christians, but it's like
I think the problem is that they Christian.
Like the Christianity may be more of a problem.
They still believe in a fucking vampire.
Like if he's hanging around, like I don't want. It sounds like you're almost saying like if he was hanging with black Christians, it'd be almost be better. And I don't want to come off like that.
That's not what I'm saying. It'll be more extreme actually if you were with black Christians, because then they really gonna go hard on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just saying, look, embrace your culture a little bit. I mean, come on, man, embrace your culture, something, man. You know what I'm saying? This is all I'm saying. Like, you know, this is all I'm saying. Embrace your culture, man. Like, yo, that's just me. Like, I have a thing about, like, you know, if you just hanging with only exclusive group of people and you ain't hanging. I mean, like I said, you ain't got to be forced to hang with black people so that way you can affirm your blackness. Now, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you feel more comfortable hanging with that group and you know their mindset is a certain way, either you check them on that shit or you move away.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is all I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? He don't do that. And I can tell he don't do that because the people that came on there coming at me with their shit and I balked on them, it was like, he didn't say anything. He just allowed it to go on. But then later on, me and him talked, and then I balked at him, but it was for something else, though. It had nothing to do with what happened between me and his. I just think he used that, whatever me and him was arguing about, he used that as a reason to block me. But I think the real reason was that because they were asking questions about who the hell I was.
Well, hey, let me say this, man, because we've gone on an hour and a half now. Beckel, I don't know Beckel too much. I think he's came on my page sometimes and has been like a little troll. I don't really care for those guys, those CCP guys, but that's drag baby for some reason. I mean, me myself, I wouldn't
keeping
even,
it real now.
People like Beckel and CCP, I don't even really. I'm just gonna keep it real with you because I don't want to get too far off into it because there's a bunch of bullshit to me about who he hang with. I don't give a fuck who he hang with. I don't give a fuck about if he never embraces his black culture. Who cares? What we care about is, you know, the truth. You know what I mean? If you want to hang with white Christians, let them have that, man. What difference does it make? I mean, what I think the problem is people like that, him and CCP and G, I think they're retarded people. I don't think they're too bright. And honestly, I think we're above them and really shouldn't even be mentioning these motherfuckers on this goddamn show. But I'm glad Drag invited you on, man. But hey, I'm just saying, I followed those guys just for a little bit. Drag is the one that actually introduced me to the CCP and G-Man, because G-Man started seeing some of my videos. He wanted to debate me for whatever the fuck. And I started listening to all these guys, and I just don't respect, you know, I respect Christians who, this is my point, I respect Christians who actually have intelligence, who we can have, because I have a lot of Christians that follow my page. Man, we talk sensible. They say, hey, Emperor, you know, this is my belief. I believe Jesus died for my sins. I believe, I don't believe When we talk, I give my views. They don't deny science. They say, well, I don't believe, I have some, I can't get along with young earth creationists at all. Mostly my Christian friends are old earth creationists, which they do accept fucking physics. They don't believe the fucking earth, because all Christians don't believe the fucking earth is flat. Do believe in a spherical earth. So I mean, people like Beckel and G-Man and these, whatever this other guy named with the long hair. What's his name, Drag?
I don't. Which one?
Your other cousin.
Other cousin. Man.
Wait. It's not some white dude named Nathan or something like that.
No, not him. The other guy, look, I got the long ponytail and shit. I don't know this motherfucker.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Whatever the guy name is, but yeah, I don't really care about these cats like that. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah,
that's just like this Jesus is Lord guy. I don't talk to these.
Yeah, he in the chat heavy. Jesus is Lord is in the chat heavy.
Yeah. They chopping his damn head off too.
No, he follow you around. So I got these.
Now that's my Now Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus Lord. Yeah.
Now, Jesus is Lord is my G, man. It's like my G. I don't feed Jesus Lord that much. He keeps begging.
Yeah.
I think he's a pain freak. He wants to. We didn't have a debate because I know y'all familiar with John Clark said that he only debated his equals.
Oh yeah, so, all those I teach.
Right. Everybody else I teach, so I can't say me and Jesus Lord had a debate. Definitely wasn't a debate. He came in. We was on Scholar Fiction channel. Scholar Fiction said, "Hey man, this Jesus Lord guy wants." So I said, "No problem. I go in and teach him and embarrass him." So I did that, and now he studied calling me out. I want to get back here. He's itching for another ass whooping. Then Drag came in and drug his ass and called him in all type of lies, like he played like he understood biology. Drag made him look like a damn fool. And we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that.
I'm not even gonna front. I blocked him off my channel. I blocked him. No, I'm saying I blocked him off my channel. They said this.
Oh no, I ain't gonna block him.
So
I like these clowns. I'll never block them. I just let them talk stupid. I let my fans eat their ass up.
Oh.
Well, listen, hold on.
I see what you're doing, Amber. You didn't leave him you didn't leave him. You don't leave him there for your audience to get fed, but you leave him there to get eaten.
Yes.
I like that.
I don't block nobody. I don't block no trolls off my page.
No, I blocked him. Because he at the point he started to get desperate, man. He just be talking like nonsense. I'm like, yo, at least give me something coherent. You know what I'm saying? Or you talking just straight nonsense. I got to be able to understand what you're saying. He
Tuma toasters.
Yeah, he just getting to the keyboard and just throwing words on there. Like, I'm just want to hit the keyboard and press enter. Like, motherfucker, I need to know what you're talking about.
See, this is what I'm saying about some people. Like, yo, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about something I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll mention something here and there, but I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit with you and act like I know everything about science, politics, religion. I know some bits here and there. I'm knowledgeable in certain things. I'm not an expert on it. I'm not gonna sit here and be an expert. However, I will ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Is it like that? Or you know what I'm saying? Or if I'm doing a little research and someone is trying to tell me something, like, especially about, like, for instance, Colin Kaepernick, disrespecting the flag. I mean, it's obvious. I could tell you right there, like, well, he didn't. But how are you going to tell me that he did? And, they're going to keep giving you the same narrative that's been spit out on the media.
Yo, but the advocate, I hate to cut this short, but we are an hour and 38 minutes in, and I got to say goodbye to the fans because they have stayed here with us. We try not to keep them too late. But listen, guys, this is Nate Brody for Dragnot Styles, Emperor Atheist, and The Advocate.
Real quick.
Drag. Hit him with what's going on.
We got one more request out in the chat. So
go ahead.
So, The Advocate, have you heard your brother say these words ad nauseum over and over again?
Ad nauseum?
Yeah, has he just said these words over and over again? Subjective?
I can't. Arbitrary, yeah.
Arbitrary.
Nauseum and another word. What was it? Nauseum and what?
Oh no, I was just saying. No. But arbitrary and subjective. Does he say that shit over and over?
Subjective, no. Arbitrary, yes. Over and a lot of times in this conversation, you say arbitrary. I'm like, you stay with this word arbitrary. Like,
So he actually says
that's
this
his
shit
safe
like in real
word.
life. Like in real life, he actually just says this shit all the time.
Oh no. When he's talking, like just regular talk,
Yeah,
he doesn't say that.
he
Like I
doesn't.
said, he
Really?
doesn't say that. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I was trying to say before, Drag. Certain, like when he says the assertion of my character, it's like he's trying to sound more intelligent than what he really is. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I called him out. Like, listen, me and my brother used to bang, like, far as like spitting, like, and I used to pop him all the time with shit. I used to be like, I said, you talking shit, man, get out of here. You talking trash right now.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to put him on to shit, like the whole conspiracy theory stuff like that. That was me back in the 90s.
Yo, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, all right now.